In 4th and 5th grade, students start working with larger ranges of multiplication expressions to find those products. And in 4th grade, one of the first stops that they make in that increasing range is 2-digit by 2-digit multiplication. And one of my favorite strategies for doing that carries over from strategies that they can use when they're even thinking about single-digit multiplication. And that's another friendly number strategy, a partials type strategy, and this one is going to be over. So just like in some of the other strategy videos where we talk about over strategies allow us to find a friendly number that's a little bit too much one way or the other, and then we can back up and make up for that little bit too much that we have, but it allows us to think a little bit more mentally and find those more friendly numbers to work with. So when I see 23 times 79, the first thing that I notice is that 79 is really close to 80, and 80 would be a lot easier to work with than 79 would be. So I'm already starting to think I want to try to get to 80 because I think I can get to 80 without having to do too much difficult calculation. For this over strategy, again, it's another multiplication example, so I'm going to model that with a ratio table. And because I'm changing the 79, I'm manipulating the 79 to think about 80, I need to work up in groups of 23. So I'm going to start with 23. And because I'm getting to 80, 80 is a nice even number, even just in the tens place. That 8 is a nice even number. So if I can get to 8, then 80 should be pretty easy to get. So I'm going to start just by going to 2. I can find two groups of 23. 23 and 23 is 46. From there, I know I can pretty easily get to 4 because I can double 46. If I double the 2 to 4, I'm just going to double that 46. I know 45 and 45 is 90, so this is going to be 92. And then from there, I know I can get to 8. If I just double one more time, I'll get to 8. 90 and 90 is 180. So this is going to be 184. Now, my kind of first target was getting to 8 because like I said earlier, I want to get to 80. And I know if I scale up by 10 here, it gets me from 8 to 80. So I can scale up by 10 here from 184 to 1,840. Now, like when we started this conversation, the point of getting to 80 is that 80 is just a little bit over 79. And 80 was pretty simple. It was more friendly to figure out 80 groups of 23 than maybe figuring out 79 groups of 23. So all I have to do now, since I went a little over, is I have to back up, and I just have to think, how much too much did I go over so that I can back up the right amount? And I have one group too many. I need 79 groups, not 80 groups. I know that one group is 23, and 80 groups is 1,840. So all I have to do is 1,840 minus 23. If a student needs to work this out, that's okay. I'm subtracting from a multiple of 10, so I think that's something that I can do mentally. 1,817. So I know that 23 times 79 is 1,817. And at first, students might need a lot of steps in their ratio table to sort of work and scale up and get to that point. As they get more confident, more familiar thinking about groups of 2 and groups of 4 and groups of 8, scaling up by 10, those friendly numbers and those friendly jumps, they'll get more and more and more efficient with this strategy and with using this model. And eventually, they might even be able to use this strategy without having to track their thinking in a model. Of course, as the teacher, the model is great because it allows me to see their thinking, which is why I always use a model, and I always encourage my students to use a model as well. So let's look at that again, 56 times 38. This is another great candidate for the over strategy because I see that this 38 is really close to 40, and 40 is a very friendly number. It's a multiple of 10. If I think, if I scale back 10 from 40, that's 4, and getting to 4 is a pretty friendly number as well. So I'm going to think about those groups of 56, knowing that I want to get to 4. So 2 would be 112, just double the 50, double the 6, 112, and 4 would be 224. And this is one of the areas where as students get more efficient, maybe they don't need to record the 2 and they can go straight to the 4 and just kind of do that step in their head from the 112 to the 224. From here, I'm going to scale up by 10 so that I can get to 40. So I'll multiply the 224 by 10. That'll give me 2,240. And then we just have to think, how much too much did we go over? And we went over 2 groups of the 56 too much. If I do the 40 minus 2, that would give me the 38 that I need. So I need to think about 40 groups, which is 2,240, minus the 2 groups, which is 112. And so I'm going to do 2,240 minus 112. And again, if students need to work this out, that's okay. Doing a little extra arithmetic in the strategy is just building that number sense, building that reasoning. So 2,240 minus 112. I know if I subtract 100, that's 2,140. And if I subtract 12 from the 40, that's going to be 28. So 2,128. And we figured out 56 times 38 now. My first going over, we went over to 40. We thought 56 times 40. And then we backed up those 2 extra groups we had so that 56 times 38 is 2,128. And that is the over strategy for multiplication using those friendly numbers for 2 by 2 digit numbers. This also works great for 3 by 2 digit that they start working on and even larger ranges in 5th grade.